Good evening, Eatontown, and tonight on Eatontown Voices, we are doing something important. We're slowing things down. We are putting facts before opinions, and we're walking carefully and clearly through what actually was said at Borough Hall, because this has been a lot conversations, emotions, and in some cases, a lot of misunderstandings as well. So this episode is not about taking sides. It's about the record. So this workshop and subsequent council meeting were focused on several major issues: a proposed new municipal and police building, environmental and groundwater testing dating back to 1997, square footage, usability, and cost concerns, and the future of the existing library building, public concerns about affordability, transparency, and taxes, and more importantly, about public trust. So let's begin with the environmental facts. The borough's environmental professionals stated the following: we collected an initial round of groundwater sampling and presented those results to the NJDEP. They requested a confirmatory round of sampling, and the confirmatory testing was completed. The two analytes we were testing for came back at the concentrations were below applicable regulatory standards. That is critical. The consultant continued, based on those results, we are now pursuing lifting of the CEAs. Those CEAs, or classification exception areas, have been in place since 1997. And when asked directly whether environmental conditions could prevent constructions, the answer was clear. Is there a reason why a building cannot be built based on the environmental analysis that you've done? The answer? No. And later, even more definitively, there are no subjects of interpretations. These are laboratory results from state certified labs. These are environmental records. Next came the discussion that raised eyebrows across town: square footage. The numbers presented were existing usable space approximately 14,020 square feet and proposed usable space approximately 25,614 square feet. The total proposed building size approximately 60,000 square feet. And that sparked understandable concern. Council asked for clarity, and the architect explained. When people hear 60,000 square feet, it sounds radical, but that includes basements, thicker walls of energy code, ADA compliance, bathrooms, mechanical systems, and open lobby spaces. He added, we're not talking about lavish features here. We're talking about functionality, flow, and code compliance. Council also acknowledged people don't realize bathrooms have to be bigger now. Hallways, turning radiuses, security zones, it all adds up. Importantly, council requested that a detailed breakdown explaining the difference between usable and total square footage be presented publicly in future meetings, and that request is now part of the record. Then came the most emotionally charged portion of the meeting: affordability. A resident stated plainly, I didn't hear anyone mention affordability, and it should be at the top of the list because taxes are already out of control. We're not against the police, she said. We're asking questions because this has to be affordable. Council responded directly to the concern, and Mayor Talerico stated, asking questions is not opposition, it's responsible governance. He also acknowledged construction costs have increased since COVID. There are unknowns. That's why these discussions are happening publicly. Estimated construction range between an estimate $500 to $750 per square foot. But there are no final numbers that have been approved. No bonds have been issued. No final scope has been locked. This process is still in review and not finalized. Now, let's talk about something that has been widely misunderstood: the library. Mayor Talerico asked whether keeping the library open would prevent the new building. And the short answer, Mayor, is no. Then came the important clarification, and the mayor stated, regardless of whether council decides to keep the library open, move it, or repurpose it, the last thing we should do is knock down a building that we own. He continued, that building is an asset. Once you knock it down, it's gone forever. and this is critical. There was no statement advocating an immediate sale. What the mayor said was, we may be able to sell it. We may be able to work with developers. We should not dissolve assets without evaluating their value. That is not a policy decision. That is an asset protection. He also added candidly, I personally value the library. That statement is also now on the record. Public comments also raised concerns about police facilities, including a firing range. One resident stated a firing range inside a building raised safety and led concerns. Council response, any range would have to meet strict Department of Correction and state standards. Also, this would not move forward without experts reviewing and public discussion. Importantly, no final discussion on a range has been made. Now, this is where Eatontown Voices matter because transparency works both ways. And at the end of the meeting, yours truly addressed council directly. The bulldozer that was mentioned 2 meetings ago, did we receive it? Council confirmed, yes, it has been delivered. I followed up, is it operational? Council response, it hasn't been used yet because the pad site is still being prepared. Then I raised an important accountability point. We were told that there may be a $55,000 repair fee. Who's paying for that? Council responded, any expenditure would be evaluated by the administrator and DPW director. Free equipment does not mean unlimited spending. Then I clarified, I'm not against receiving donated equipment. I just wanted the facts documented. That clarification matters. Then I addressed sewer authority funding. There was no public vote years ago on transfer funds. Can we clarify that? Mayor Talerico responded, there were closed sessions, discussions, and consensus. The administrator would not act without authorization. Then I acknowledged that explanation while I emphasized documentation and clarity matters, especially for public trust. Finally, I addressed communication. By the way, less than 1% of followers see social media posts from a personal profile. We need better borough-wide communication. Mayor Talerico agreed, and he said we are working on improving borough communication beyond individual social media. That exchange was professional, respectful, and on the record. Eatontown, nothing we covered tonight was about drama. It was about process. It was about questions that are being asked in public. It was about answers that are being given on a record. And it was about understanding that disagreement does not equal disloyalty. This borough moves forward best when facts come first, questions are welcome, assets are protected, and trust is earned, not assumed. This has been Eatontown Voices. If you want more of these long-form factual breakdowns, subscribe, share, and stay engaged because local government only works when people are paying attention. Good night.
Still marketing your business like it's the Yellow Pages era? Welcome to ME Studios, where local solopreneurs and small business owners catch up with the digital world and take over it. We help you go from invisible to undeniable. Featured on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Plus, gain press exposure in over 100 to 300 major media outlets like Fox, ABC, CBS, NBC, and the CW. Right here in Eatontown, New Jersey, just steps away from the soon-to-be Netflix studios, our multi-unit facility is built for creators, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. Stop marketing like it's 1995. Start building your digital authority today with a team that gets it.